Hey everyone, welcome to Wildlife Inspired. I'm your host, Scott Keys, and today we're going to talk about how many times do you have to click the shutter before you take a great image for wildlife photography right after this. So welcome to today's video, and this is a quick thoughts video. So this is my perspective, my opinion, my experience. I had somebody the other day comment about the video, and it sounded like maybe they were saying it was egocentric or it's about me. Well, the quick thoughts videos, by the way, are about my experience. It's actually my opinion. So that's what these videos are. But more importantly, I share my opinion to find out yours. So to find out, is this your experience or what is the difference? And I think some people like to hear maybe what are other people doing or where's their head at? Here's what I was thinking about the other day. And that's where most of these quick thought videos come from, just random thoughts. How many images have I posted this year? That's where it started. And it was about 200. But then I got to thinking, how many did I have to take? How many good images? 200, but how many did I have to take to get there? And then how many images do I have that are actually really good? Not every post I would consider to be art worthy, for sure. I've posted like 2,000 images, maybe 50 are art worthy. I don't know, in my head, 100. But I wanted to get some numbers, and then contest worthy. Like how many of these are contest worthy that I would really feel like, okay, I feel good about entering this into a contest. I will put 5 or 6 images into a contest this year, maybe 8 or 10. Kind of curious. How long did I have to go to get those? And am I as good as I used to be? I was feeling like I'm not as good as I used to be. And it struck me as photograph as much. Like I spend a little more time on YouTube. I spend more time on my yard and native gardening and plants and bugs and macro photography. My macro photography is better. My bird photography might not be as much. And I think part of it is just this concept of percentages. It is literally a numbers game. The more frames you shoot as a wildlife photographer, the more chances that the cool thing happens. It's just a numbers game. So the more I shoot, the more I'm out, the better chance I have at a great photograph. Maybe the light is just perfect that morning. I can't predict that. Like I can't always predict that light is going to be perfect. I can think it is, but if I put myself out there enough, there may be times when light happens that I didn't expect. And that could be a magic moment. There could be an interaction that's a magic moment. So all of that can happen. So here's what I did. I went back to the beginning of this year. And I realized I posted about 200. How many times did I click the shutter? That was a hard decision. I'm going to pull up another screen here. This is my Flickr account. So Eskies Images. And the nice thing about Flickr, I'll pull up an image here. If I pop an image up, you can actually scroll down and see the settings for that image. You can see the exact shutter speed and everything else. I'll pull up a couple images as we go along. I don't know this for sure, but in an average week, I think I shoot about 1,000 frames. That's just a ballpark. There's some I might shoot 0 and some I might shoot 2,000. But I'm guessing it's 1,000. On a trip, I might shoot more. New species, something different. Like I go to Utah, a lot more frames. And I did make one trip this year. I know photographers that have come back with 4 or 5 terabytes of information from a week-long trip. That's a lot of information. That is probably hundreds of thousands of images. But I would say on average, let's give it a ballpark of like 1,000 a week. I'm going to guess that I have taken somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 30,000 pictures this year. And I should say frames. I've clicked the shutter button 20 to 30,000 times. I don't have an exact count. I know there are ways I can go on my camera, but I don't have a starting point. I don't know. I can find out what my shutter count is now, but I don't know where I started from at the beginning of the year. On this album, where I started at the beginning of the year was this common merganser. So this gray image, I'll pull it up again right there. That's where I started the year. That was January 8th. It's now, at the time of recording this, it's the end of September. And I think I've shot about 20,000. I've posted 200, but I've edited a lot more. I've got another maybe 200 ready to post or edited, maybe 100. So somewhere between 200 and 400, I feel these are good enough for me to post. They're not artwork and they're not contest images. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Percentage-wise, 300, 400 to 20,000. I think, if my math is right, it's going to work out to somewhere between 1% and 3%. We'll call it 2%. So for every 100 images I take, every time I click the button 100 times, odds are there are 2 that I will edit and share to the public. Does that number sound right to you? Is your keeper rate way high? I'm going to share a story. Or is it lower? Does it take you 1,000? I know people, listen, I know a photographer might take 10,000 pictures, might post one a month or a week. They're only posting kind of what they may consider artwork or unique or different. So that standard is going to be very different. I shoot enough where I feel comfortable saying I can share some of my experience. Like I can just share what I'm seeing, right? So every day, every other day, I'm going to put an image out there. They're not all artwork. What's your rate? We'll call this the posting rate. What rate do you post the images that you shoot? Is it 1%, 2%, 10%? That would seem a little high. There's also this concept of keeper rate. So we're going to talk about keeper rate real quick. I'm going to pop over here just to have this discussion. So what is a keeper rate? To me, what a keeper rate means is it's not a posting rate. Keeper rate is what I don't delete and save. What are your percentages here? I listened to a wildlife photographer. I had to laugh. A professional photographer, actually pretty well known. Somebody asked him the question, what is your keeper rate? And what they meant is, I believe, when you click the button, how many times do you keep that image and how many times do you delete it? And his rather egotistical answer was, about 90%. And I thought, 90%? He might have said more. He basically inferred that he only touches the button when it's a keeper. So I'm not going to bother with the button unless it's a keeper. Now, if you're shooting scenes, landscapes, maybe even mammals, might be much different. Like maybe you're so good, you just know what it's going to look like and you're not going to touch the button. With birds, it's a little different. I think you take a lot more volume. So if you're putting your percentages down there, let me know. Are you a mammal photographer? What's your specialty? In my macro, maybe there's a few more keepers. Maybe there's less. There's a lot of stuff out of focus. If you're a bird photographer, what's your keeper rate? How many are you deleting? So here's my keeper rate. I think my process is I cull. And I delete everything out of focus and not looking. And I get a lot of birds looking the wrong way or out of focus. That's the nature of bird photography. I will say at least 50% get just trashed, just right in the garbage. I will then go through again and I'll make another round through. So I've culled it real quickly and I'm going to go through and I'm going to rate them. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to say like, okay, 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, whatever your system is, right? And I have a system where it's like, it's good enough to keep. In other words, it's sharp, it's pleasant. I have another system that says it's good enough to post. All right, so that's like another star system, maybe 2 stars. 3 stars might be good enough to print. All right, so it's quality. And then 4 and 5 stars is like really amazing in contest. So that 5 stars, I only give a couple a year. I mean, 5 or 6 images a year. So if I take, again, let's use that 20,000 this year. How many 5-star images do I have? Well, it's definitely less than 20. So it's definitely less than 1/10%. It's probably even less than that. So it's a fraction. It's like 1, maybe out of 1,000 is, in my opinion, every 1,000 times I take a picture, is it worthy of a contest? And I think it is less than that. I think it's more like 1 in 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. I think it's a fraction. So interesting numbers there, right? Like just in my head, how many times am I shooting? How many times am I posting? And what am I keeping? So let's say I have a 40% keeper rate or a 30% keeper rate. Of that, maybe 10% is a post rate. Like I'm posting about, not even 10%. I said 2%. I'm posting 2% is a post rate. And then of that, a contest rate, not 2%, not 1%, 1/10%, maybe less, half of that, 0.05% is contest or maybe art worthy. So let's look at my portfolio. These are numbers off of my head. I wish I had some more exact numbers. It would be a really fun experiment to start the year at one number. Maybe one year I'll do that. Let's see what I posted. Had a nice series with ducks. Are any of these art photos? That one's nice. A little snowflake action in there. I'll zoom it in so you can see it. That one's nice. So that would be close. I don't think that's a contest image. This was a very good one, a species I don't see a lot. Both of these were the same species. I don't see them a lot. I don't think that's a contest image, though. All right, so that's a good post, not a contest image. Scrolling up, good post, popular, basic portrait contest art. So I'm in here now. I'm getting into. I'm in February. I might be getting into March now. Haven't posted anything art worthy. So 3 months. Let's talk about this one. I did a video on this on details, and I think this one is art. I honestly do. To me, it wasn't popular. This to me was an artistic image. I really liked this one. So this is now. I'm all the way into the middle of March. So a couple months it took me to get an art image that I felt pretty confident about. Got a couple other good images. Now, March is a good month for me. I get a lot of ducks. This one. Yeah, this one possibly contest. And maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. I think the uniqueness of the light is special. The light on the bird is perfect. This is a standard portrait in contest. I advise people watch your portraits. They're going to be tough. But in the case of this, the color is so good and the duck is so good, the pose is good, and everything. This could be like a portfolio type entry. All right. And mildly edited. So this is contest eligible. Yeah, that one I feel pretty good about. So I got maybe a contest image in there. I'm in March and I'm doing pretty good. Now I go to Utah and I get a lot of images in Utah. And this is a stretch of images. You could see this is chronological. I'm going to zip through these images from Utah. I think, just looking here, this is my most popular image ever posted. On Instagram, this got 50,000 likes or something, like 10 times more than any other image. It's just the algorithm. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about art. I'm not sure about contest with that. Maybe just popular. Like maybe the algorithm just hit it. This one, possible. I've seen this look a lot, so I'm not sure this is anything new about this one. Maybe. Couple maybes in there. Here's one I think maybe yes. I think I printed this. We do a video on this, and I'll feature this from a company called Bumblejacks. They offered to do a print. I selected this one for their medium. That one I think is in. That I think is a contest image. So I'm into April. I got 2 potential contest images. The rest of these, this one, behavior, feeding an insect. I'm still in April. Maybe I got a third, probably not an art edit, maybe a contest edit. It's like 3 or 4 images in here. And I think I'm on track with my percentages. I think my percentages are starting to hold up to the number I've shot. Let's go through these. It's a shorebird that's really good. I like this one. I don't think it's a contest image. Shot at a slower shutter speed. I didn't have enough of the slow shutter speed effect. Not sure about that one. Love this one. I will be honest. I always tell you what I do. I did a little photo manipulation on this one. I think I tweaked to get some more flowers in there to get the composition I wanted. And I think I removed a branch. All right, so I can't edit this. The branch, as I recall, was going right through that bird's head. I removed it using Photoshop. I can't enter that one, but I love this one. This is simple and it's pleasing and it's beautiful. And the edit works for, I think I can get this in a contest. I think the edit's fine. That one's good. That may be 5. Between art and contest, that one could be in there. A lot of songbirds. Songbirds don't do well in contests. Didn't see anything in here. Liked the songbirds, by the way. I kind of like all of these. There's some good images in here. I don't know about contest. Loved this one. Not a contest image. I did a little bit of manipulation on these leaves. It had little brown spots. I took those out. I can't remember all the editing on that one. I don't think I can get that into a contest with the way I edited it. Loved it though. So really love that image. And probably because it's special, the bird and the colors, native plant, the whole thing, you know my thing. Yeah, images like this are good. This is a good post. One of my 200 posts this year, again, out of that 1 or 2% that I feel is edit worthy, never going to be in a contest. Never going to be in a contest. It's just not contest. It's not art, not a contest edit. So now I'm struggling. I had a good run in Utah, and now I'm the end of the year. I've got some pretty fall images. Took a lot of fall images, edited a lot, have a lot more to post. Yeah, these are pretty. This is kind of classic what I do. Are they contest worthy? I don't know that any of those have the quality the right editing. I just don't feel like any of these songbirds. And I will try to find a songbird. I like to put a songbird in. That one's nice. That one's really nice. This has the look, by the way. I love to talk about images in general. It looks like somebody went to. I should probably do a spoof on this. It looks like somebody went to the glamour shots and pulled down the backdrop, right? Like, oh, let's do brown pattern backdrop and dropped it down there. That's just the effect of bokeh in this situation. Those trees are in the far line and those twigs get really out of focus. So it gives you this patterned effect. I like the effect. Very simple. If I put a songbird in, that one could be it. It's pretty simple, you know? So this is the style. This is my style. This is what I shoot. I don't know if it's contest worthy for everything, and that's part of the problem. If you shoot a lot of portraiture, you kind of struggle. So in a nutshell, here's my video. I took 20, 30,000 images. I posted about 2% of that. How many times did I have to click the shutter to get a really good one, to get a piece of art for me or something I would enter into a contest? And I think the answer is going to be about, because if I look through here, I had 5, 10 would be pushing it. I had 5 really good images this year. In a year, out of all of the photography I spent, all the time, and forget, we didn't talk about time, 10 a year for me, really, really good things I would print or put into a contest. 10, 100, 200, 300 hours, 400 hours of my life devoted to 10 great images, plus all these daily posts that are good, not great. Kind of curious. Put some numbers down there. Your numbers. How many, think about how many times, how many hours, how many shutter clicks, how many posts, how many of that, maybe percentage or just numbers. You did 5,000 shutter clicks estimated. You posted 50 or you posted 100. How many are great? How many are wall art or contest? Very interesting study. And I think what you're going to find is that true contest images only come up once in a while. True art images only present themselves once in a while. If you're talented, if you're that guy on YouTube I mentioned earlier, hey, you may get an art piece every click. But what is your keeper rate? How many are you deleting out of there? How many are you tagging? How many are you marking as like really good? I have this thing, I'm a bit of a hoarder, so my culling rate would probably be 80 or 90% if I actually got rid of all of it. I convert a lot to JPEG and save it for some reason. I honestly think I'm just a hoarder when it comes to these photos. I delete a lot of raw files. Of the raw files, by the way, I think I keep about 10% of the raw files that I think are good enough to save. And of those, I probably overkeep some of those. But I gave you the numbers, 20,000, 30,000 images, just 200 posts, but 5 to 10 good ones, which means out of all of the things I post, 10 out of 200, that's not a lot. 5% of my posts are actually really good. Oh, I may have to go back to the drawing board. What is your rates down below? I'll put some questions down here at the bottom. Quick thoughts video. I wanted to share some images so we could talk and you could see some of the work that I've done this year. But what I was trying to do is illustrate, not just show you my work, but show you what I post versus what I think is getting close to art, print, or contest. Like what's that good? I did not, I'm trying to think, I haven't posted or haven't printed a lot of images from this year. I've got a few pretty ones. I did post, I mentioned Bumblejacks. I'm doing a video on media, meaning like what's the right mood for the right print. I think that'll be a good video. And I'm going to feature that one that I showed you earlier. It's an Avocet in flight. That is one of the very few pictures that I can remember this year printing. And then I showed you a handful of these maybe potential contest entries. What do you think? You know, what's your numbers? Put them down in the comments. We'll have fun with this one. I don't have much more other than that. What's your numbers? What's your keeper rates? What's your post rates? How long does it take? I think the ultimate question to this quick thoughts, how long does it take to create a great image, a print-worthy or contest-worthy image? How many clicks or how many hours does it take? That's all I got for you. Put that stuff down in the comments. I want to thank you for tuning into the channel. As always, love to read the comments. I try to read them all. I think I get to every single one. And so thank you for all of those great comments. Thanks for your support on the channel. If you're not subscribed, I got to tell you, there's a subscribe button down there. It's so easy just to click it, and there's a little bell. Click that, let you know when I get a new video out. That'll be good for you. It'll be really good for me. So help support the channel that way. And I think the last thing I got to do is just say, let's continue to find inspiration in wildlife together.